I'm doing fine, Mark, and you know exactly what I've been going through. You go through it every day, so God bless you.
And you too. So, Jim Jordan, you've announced to run for Speaker. So I guess your main opponent is?
Well, I think Kevin McCarthy, but you never know who else may run. But right now, the main thing is we got to keep the majority. Because if we don't, you've been talking about this. I mean, they want to get rid of ICE. They want socialized medicine. They want to raise people's taxes, and they don't want the FBI to give us the information we're supposed to have. And most importantly, they're going to impeach President Trump if they get in power. So that's the most important thing now. But we also, in Congress, we got to start doing what we told the American people we're going to do. The president's doing that, for goodness sake, but we got to start doing it in Congress, and that's why I want to be Speaker.
Are you saying then that as Speaker, what you would do is you would lead with our principles because you think that they are persuasive and that we can win over more votes that way?
We forfeit even before we have a debate. Take the omnibus spending bill, Mark. Schumer had shut the government down a few weeks before on a short-term spending bill. Remember this? It was like a Friday in March or something. He shuts the government down. He says amnesty is more important than funding the troops. And over the weekend, the American people told Chuck Schumer, "You're crazy." And so Monday he comes back and says, "Shazam! I'm going to open the government back up," because and politically he was getting killed. So he opens the government back up. A few weeks later, we have this big omnibus where we could have broke the pattern that Reid started and Schumer continues, where for every dollar we commit to national defense, which, by the way, is where we're supposed to spend your tax dollars, for every dollar we commit to national defense, the Democrats said, we're not going to pass the defense bill until you give us $1 for social welfare, big government spending. And instead of having the debate and saying, no, we're going to break that pattern, we're not going to raise any more, we're not going to give any more money to big government, instead of having the debate, we just forfeited and did what the swamp always does. We just said, what the heck, let's just spend more money on everything, spend more, drive the debt up to $1 trillion, our deficit up to $1 trillion this year. We were so poised to win, but we it's like forfeiting before they even kick the ball off. Like, come on, let's have the debate. That's what we'll do if I get the opportunity and the privilege of being Speaker.
Why do you think, at least with some of the Republicans, some of those who will definitely not vote for you, a couple of dozen for sure, why do you think your message of limited government, anti-corruption, national sovereignty, why do you think that doesn't appeal to them? What does appeal to them?
I think what does appeal to them is the idea that right now the process is so broken in Congress. It's governing by crisis. It's wait till the last minute. It's a few people at the top make all the decisions. And remember, there are 240 Republicans, 435 members in the Congress, and we each represent 750,000 people. It'd be nice if we could actually weigh in and impact policy, particularly the majority, particularly Republicans who the American people put in power. But no, it's a few people at the top making all the decisions, and they tell you vote for this because you have to, because this is all the Senate will take, or this is all the time we got. That's baloney. Let's actually let the process work. Let's empower the members. That will appeal to, I think, people who aren't Freedom Caucus, people who may not be quite as conservative as me. I think that appeals to them because they're tired of just being told what to do and having to live with it.
How does the midterm election look to you? I know it's kind of early, but the way I size this up, and I'm not sure, is the Democrats, they have to make one of two choices. Either embrace the ultra extreme of their party, or they have nothing to say, as opposed to the Republicans who should be embracing the conservative agenda and most of the Trump agenda. And I think that would be very effective.
Yeah, I say it this way. In a year and a half, think about this. Regulations reduced, taxes lowered, economy growing. We saw today 4.1%. Economy is growing like crazy. Unemployment's at its lowest in 20 years. Gorsuch on the court, Kavanaugh on deck. Embassy is in Jerusalem. We're out of the crazy Iran deal, and the hostages have come back from North Korea. That is an amazing year and a half under President Trump. But when you look at Congress, of that big long list right there, and I'm forgetting some other things that have happened in the year and a half that have been positive, but in that big long list, the only things Congress has really helped with is the tax cuts. So, and those are good things. But where's Obamacare repeal? Where's reforming welfare and requiring people to work to get your tax dollars? People who are able-bodied. Where's building the wall and doing immigration like we're supposed to? And where's controlling spending like I just talked about on that big omnibus bill? Where's that at? We're going to hit $1 trillion deficit next month. So that's what the American people say. They said Donald Trump is doing what he promised to do and what we elected him to do and what he said he would do. Where's Congress? But for taxes, we have not done what we told the American people we're going to do. And that's what drives them crazy. So between now and Election Day, we had better show them that we are committed to what they elected us to do in 2016. And then if they give us a chance to lead again, and if I get the chance to be Speaker, we are going to do exactly what we told them. I always say this. We make this job way, way too complicated. It's pretty darn simple. What did you tell them when you ran for office? And what did you tell them you were going to do? You got elected. You formed a contract with your voters. Go do that. And instead, we get to Washington and that swamp gets a hold of everyone, and we find a million reasons why we shouldn't do what we said we would do and what we know we should do. And that's the problem.
Are you saying we need new leadership because the current leadership doesn't make the case and can't cobble together a majority, and you could?
How could we not? In light of what Chuck Schumer did, how could we not, going into that big omnibus, that big spending bill at the end of March, how could we just forfeit? I mean, we took remember what happened there? 2,232-page piece of legislation. We had 15 hours to look at it, 1 hour of debate on the floor. No amendments were allowed to be offered because we in the Freedom Caucus took 3 good amendments to the committee. You know why they weren't made in order? Because they would have passed. So we funded things we said we never would. We didn't fund things we told the people we would fund, namely the wall. And that's the process. And you wonder why people are fed up with Congress, but like President Trump because he's out there fighting and doing the things he said. That's the difference. Well, I learned a long time ago. If you're not willing to risk it and go put it on the line and actually fight the fight, play the game, get off the sidelines and take a little risk, you're never going to accomplish anything. You might lose a few, but you're never going to win anything if you don't try. And our problem is we always forfeit before we're even willing to try. And it's driving me crazy. I'm at the point now, like, look, I'm tired of this. I fight on the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee to try to get the executive branch when they're targeting people at the IRS and when they're doing the crazy things the FBI is doing. But at some point, we got to deal with other issues as well. And I'm saying, look, I'm fed up just like the American people are. I'm willing to step forward and see if I can be speaker and change the way that place operates.
You, if you were to win, who would you want as the majority leader among the Republicans?
I'll leave that up to my colleagues. We're not talking about a slate right now. We're just talking about me running for speaker. And I've been amazed at the grassroots support across the country. Just about every I don't know everyone, but almost it seems every conservative group in the country has endorsed us. All kinds of people have said great things about us, like you and like Sean, and a host of other folks have said the same thing. So I've been shocked by the grassroots support we're getting across the country. We're just going to keep going and talking to our colleagues. And hopefully we can keep the majority, because that's so important, like what we talked about, because we know what the Democrats are going to be up to. And then if we do, we'll see what happens in the conference and see if I can win.
So my listeners hear this and they say, well, we don't get to vote. What can we do? Do you want them to contact their members of Congress?
I want them to, yeah. I mean, look, I never like to tell people to go tell your member. But if your listeners, and I know you got a ton of them, if they think I'm the right guy, I want them to talk about it. And that is happening across the country. And like I said, I've been shocked at that, and I've been, obviously pleased at that. But it's surprising to me that so many people, and I think it just goes to this frustration. And you've said this, John, Mark. You said this when in 2010 the American people said, "Look, we're tired of this Obamacare and this spending." They put Republicans in control of the House. 14, they put Republicans in control of the Senate, and 16, they elected a guy that everybody said could not get elected. And the American people says, baloney. We're so sick of that town, so sick of that swamp, so sick of the same old there. We're willing to make Donald Trump president of the United States because he's going to go change things. And he has kept his word, but Congress hasn't done enough of it.
Well, you have my full support, Jim Jordan. I appreciate everything you've been doing for this country, and I want to thank you.
And I appreciate what you do every single day, talking about the principles that make our country this special place that it is and the greatest country ever. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate your support.
Well, thank you. And I would encourage my audience, you're not, I am, if you agree with me on this, that Jim Jordan ought to be our Speaker of the House, then please do contact your member of Congress. Have a great weekend, sir. God bless.
Thanks, Mark. Take care, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Take care of yourself. No, I don't run for the